Welcome to the 2024 Massachusetts Women's Amateur Championship Preview Show, presented by Titleist and FootJoy. I'm Nia Frederick for Mass Golf. Joining me once again is Stephen Hanjack. We're going to cover the third signature event that we have this summer. Last one, best one, right?
That's right. We're looking forward to talking about Taconic and the great field that we have heading out west soon.
Yes. Okay, let's get into some details. The 121st Massachusetts Women's Amateur Championship kicks off at Taconic Golf Club in Williamstown, Massachusetts, August 12th through the 16th. It's going to be a long week. We've got the cut being made after 36 holes of stroke play. Match play begins on Wednesday with the rounds of 32 and then the round of 16 taking place in the afternoon. And then on Thursday, we've got the quarters and the semifinals. Heading into Friday, we'll have the final round of match play. Who knows who will make it there this year? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But something else that's very exciting is this year's Women's Amateur Champion will also receive exemption into the 2025 U.S. Women's Amateur Championship as long as they are eligible. So a lot of exciting things on the docket, a very exciting event. This is the first time the Women's Amateur Championship is headed out to Taconic. So even more exciting to anticipate the first of its kind out there.
That's right, and it follows up quite a lineup that we've had on the women's side. Last year we were at Dedham Country and Polo Club. Of course, Rebecca Scholar took that one over Molly Smith. The year before that we were at the Orchard, which at one time hosted the U.S. Women's Open, so a great venue there. Plymouth before that, Essex before that. So we've had quite a lineup, and I'm excited to head out west and see this.
I know. I think the one thing that I've looked at is the furthest out west it's been is Wyandotte so far. So we're getting even deeper into the Berkshires. Hopefully we'll have really great scenic views out there. And like I said, 121st rendition of this event, dating back to 1900 with Grace Keyes winning the inaugural event. So there's a lot of history here. There
is, and speaking of the recent history, it's been a young players championship. Last year, Rebecca Scholar, of course, at a University of Virginia, she won. Before that, it was Morgan Smith at the Orchards. Before that, it was Katie Schoenecker out at Plymouth. That was one of the best putting displays I think we've ever seen in this championship. I forget how long it was. It was like a 60-foot putt that she had to make in her first match to send it to a playoff. Then she made another 12-footer and a 20-footer, and then, I don't know, she made 155 feet of putts, it seemed like, every day. So that was something that really stuck out there. And the year before that, Allison Paik in the championship match at Essex. Again, a putting display unlike anything that anyone had seen over at Essex in quite a while. I think she won 7 and 6 over Ann Walsh, finished it on the 13th hole. So we've seen some really cool performances, and I have a feeling we're going to see another good one out west.
I would think so. This is something we talked about in the Amateur Championship Preview Show too. You know, the young kids, they've got, you know, the athleticism. They're playing golf all the time, especially the college kids. You know, they're really kind of in tune with their golf game when it comes to playing this much golf in a week. So it will be really interesting to see kind of what happens here. So let's talk about the golf course. We've covered a lot of ground this golf season so far. We started with, you know, the Massachusetts Open Championship was down at Willow Bend on the Cape, the Amateur out in Framingham, and now we're, you know, covering all the way out to the northwest corner of the state, heading to Taconic. Like I said, first time Taconic is hosting this event, so that's very exciting. It's a very dreamy, scenic course, kind of tucked in the Berkshires, obviously offering up spectacular mountain views, and it's a classically challenging Styles and Van Cleek design with a recent Gil Hans renovation, which is also known for its superb playing conditions. So there's a lot there.
Yeah, and speaking of a lot there, you can see here the notes I have on the golf course. There's so much to talk about. For one, I find that this course is going to identify the ball strikers. It's one of the state's great layouts, and it has a great mix of uphill shots, or I guess uphill holes that allow for a little bit of run out. Just calls for all the different shots in the bag. So I think we're going to see that this week. It's also a really physically demanding walk. Again, you're up in the mountains. I don't know if you're quite at altitude, but you're certainly higher up. So that affects, but again, it's a ton of up and down, up and down. It feels like after you get through the first 5 holes, you're never on a flat, never playing a flat hole. So it's, as you mentioned, a long week. So the first 2 days you're playing 18 holes, and then you're getting to 36. It's a demanding walk. So I think that that's going to play a role in this championship. But then as you just talked about the course itself, it's so unique. It's a public golf course. It's very much a high-end public golf course. It's one of the great college golf courses in the country. And it's hosted a ton of things. It's hosted USGA championships. It's hosted NCAA championships. It's hosted a ton of mass championships. Of course, this is the first mass women's am. And then it's got unique history, like in 1956 at the US Junior Amateur, Jack Nicklaus made a hole-in-one on the 14th hole. They got a cool plaque up there. So it's rich in history, and it's just, I just cannot wait to get up there and see it.
As talking to a few players that are going to be in the field this week too, they're very excited to kind of take on the challenge that is Taconic. So that'll be really exciting to see.
And for those that are struggling too, it's one of the most scenic views. You got the mountains and everything around, and the beautiful town below. So for those struggling, you'll still enjoy the week out in Williamstown.
Yeah, at least enjoy the scenery, right? Enjoy the trip out west.
That's right.
All right, so let's talk players. We've got all three Smith sisters representing once again. We had all three of them in the field last year. A trio that's so fun to watch individually and when they're together. Obviously, things could get interesting as we kind of come down the stretch there. We could see a Smith sister showdown in the end there. So who knows what sides are going to be picked there from the family. I would have obviously loved to see Rebecca Scholar tee it up once again this year after her incredible finish last year. However, the reigning champ is not in the field this year, so we'll kind of see what we've got there. I know we kind of talked about reigning champions with a few of the other signature events that happened this year, but obviously it's anyone's ball game.
Yeah, and just to add on to what you said about the Smith sisters, it's funny, we're filming this a week or two out, but we just caught wind that the Smith sisters, the three of them, are competing in the U.S. Women's Amateur, and we have a call into the USGA to find out if they're the first trio of sisters to compete at the same time. So some really cool things happening with them. But a few other players that stood out to me that I'm interested to see how they do this week. Emma Abramson, she goes to Williams College, so this is her home course while she's at school. I have a feeling someone with a lot of knowledge around here is just like we were talking about at the AM over at Framingham. I think that's going to play a factor. I would not be surprised to see her make a deep run. Lillian Gillisarian, of course, last year we got her hole-in-one on camera. I got goosebumps right now thinking about that, how exciting it was to get a hole-in-one on camera. But we've seen Lillian grow year after year, and again, another person that I expect to see making a deep run. Shannon Johnson and Megan Buck, of course, both of them are getting ready for the U.S. Women's Mid-Am at Brayburn here in state. They have made deep runs the past few years, specifically thinking back to Plymouth. They were both deep into that one. So I expect that we'll see their names up at the top. And two others that stood out to me, Michaela Costello. Last year we had a cool feature on her playing in the pouring rain. Nothing seemed to affect her, so who knows what the weather. No rain gear, that's right. And I don't even know, she just had the gloves and short sleeves and shorts. So if weather rolls in, I think she'll be just fine out there. And then the last one, Tate Hadges, she was the stroke play medalist last year. Haven't talked much about her recently, but again, someone that made their name known last year, and I would expect to see her in the hunt this year. Yeah,
100%. I would also say last year we had Riley Regan as the youngest in the field for the second year in a row. While she's not in this event this year, we've got Riva Makanava-Jula at 14 years old. She'll be the youngest in the field. However, she's not a stranger to this event or the field she's playing against. And she also previously has 3 junior girls mites division wins in a row. So, I mean, you never know. She's growing. She played in the women's stroke play earlier this year, had a great day over there. So, I mean, it's always nice to see.
Exactly. I've seen a few videos of her swing, and I've been at some of the girls' junior events where she's been there. Just a phenomenal swing, and someone that's just going to continue to get better as years go along. I don't know if she'll be able to contend for the championship. Who knows? But that's a name that we're going to hear for many years to come, for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk spectators. Obviously, we've welcomed all spectators to all of our events. We welcome all spectators to come on out to Taconic, whether they're local or willing to make the trip out to watch some great golf at a beautiful site for this year's Women's Am. If joining us on the courts, please know that there are restrooms available at the clubhouse, 6th hole, 10th tee, and 15th tee. So we've got a lot of them out there. Like you mentioned, it is quite the walk, so at least those are available. And then food and beverage services will be available to all spectators via cash or credit card from the clubhouse. And for anybody watching at home, you can follow along on social media at Playmass Golf. And via our website, we'll have our Championship Central page up and running all week with in-house news, out-of-house news, recaps, news stories, social media links, anything and everything there is to know there.
That's right. And you know, speaking about Spectators, if I could offer up a bit of advice, if you could go as far up north as you can, up Route 2 and then cut across, that's got to be one of the best drives to a golf course I've ever seen. You go through the Berkshires, through the mountains, that hairpin turn, I don't even know what the name of it is. People are going to get all over me for that for sure. But it's one of the more beautiful drives that we have here in state. So do that if you're heading out there. But when you do get there, there's a few spots that are really unique. One of the coolest spots there is the 9th hole. They have built into the side of the back mounding there of the 9th hole a bench and a like little gallery area for people to sit down. It's shaded under the big tree, and you're watching people play the beautiful downhill par 3 9th hole, close to the clubhouse, close to food and beverage, all that. So that's a spot that I would suggest a lot of people stick to, not have to battle the hills. For those that do want to battle the hills, though, go up to the 7th green. Again, there's they have this cool little canopy up there and a bench, and it overlooks one of the better holes on the golf course. A really nice scenery there. You could peek over and see, I think it's the 12th green over the shoulder, and then you just see the whole rest of the golf course, and of course the college layout down below. So a really pretty spot. And then the other spot that I think is going to be a really neat place on the course is up at the 13th green. It's a green that I think it's like 60 yards long. It's huge. It's a pretty cool hole, but then right next to it is the 14th tee, which is the par 3 where Jack Nicklaus's hole-in-one was. A really cool par 3, and you're going to see a lot of interesting things late in matches, especially as we get to match play up in that section of the course.
All right. So we welcome everybody to come out and watch all week long, whether you make it up for just match play or you make it up for stroke play as well. We'd be happy to have all spectators on site. And we will be live streaming the final match via our Instagram. So if you can't make it out, make sure you stay tuned for that, because it's bound to be just as exciting as it has been in years past. All right, it's time for the exciting part. It's our third and final one of this golf season, our third signature event. We've come back. Stephen Hanjack's picks and takes. Let's hear them.
All right, so first of all, I just have to say it off the top. This is not Mass Golf's picks and takes. Mass Golf is in no way sponsoring or approving these takes. They're just mine. So with that said, the thing that I've learned over the past few events is with match play and seeding, you can't exactly pick the 2 players that you think that are going to meet in the final. And I haven't figured out exactly who's going to win yet. I'll have that in about 30 seconds. But I think 2 players that I expect to find or see in the final 4 are Lillian Gillisarian and Molly Smith. I think distance is going to play a huge factor at Taconic. And yes, I think those that don't hit it as far can contend, but I just don't know that they're going to be able to go through the gauntlet. Like if I had to play, or if someone had to play Lillian and then Molly back to back, it's just going to be such a battle. And I think distance is a huge advantage at this course. So I think we're going to see the 2 of them. And as much as I want to have a more shocking take, it just feels like it's Molly's time. She was right there on the doorstep last year. The year before that, we saw Rebecca Scholar lose in the championship match, come back, win the next year. This is set up for that exact same scenario. So my pick for this year, Molly Smith to be the 2024 Massachusetts Women's Amateur Champion.
We also, I mean, that happened at the Mass Am, right? Like, you know, Newmack had his runner-up moment in 2023. He came back at, maybe home course advantage, but, you know, he came back in 2024 and won the Mass Am Championship.
And the year before that, too. Downs was the runner-up to Connor Willett, then won the next year. So it seems to be a trend here at Mass Golf, right?
I know. So we'll see what happens. We'd be happy to have anybody out there to watch. We'll have coverage all week on our social media channels. Thanks for tuning in to this preview show, and we will see you at the Mass Women's Am.
We'll see you at Taconic.